Hey guys, so I am here today to talk to you about charcoal. So we are going to be working in our next quadrant using charcoal. So just a little getting to know charcoal first. I'd start practicing on a scratch sheet of paper, just seeing how you can move the charcoal on the paper and get the different values that you want. So one thing, I guess if I were going to compare this to the mediums that we have tried before, this is maybe the closest to the graphite, but you can see you can get a lot blacker than you can with graphite. I will say, you know, unlike the marker, just moving your finger over this charcoal is going to make it move across the page. You can, you know, really use your finger or use a small tool like a Q-tip to blend out and get lighter values. You will probably find in this drawing that you're working on today that you'll have to, you know, maybe after you've drawn for a while, go back and add some of your darker values in, because the thing about charcoal is it really likes to move around the page. So you can also take your eraser and you can press down to lighten your value, you know, so if you want to create a transition like that. You can also really use this kneaded eraser just to pick up and erase out areas. So if I wanted to maybe find some of my highlights again, I could erase with my kneaded eraser. Again, if your kneaded eraser gets dirty, you just pull it and that cleans it up a little bit. You can also use a plastic or a rubber eraser. You guys have, most of you either have a pink plastic eraser or a gum eraser in your kit. So this will kind of give you some more firm edges. The nice thing about the kneaded eraser too is that you can really kind of bend it up and create small little shapes to erase with. It's good for finding smaller forms. I will say the plastic or the gum eraser take off more at once. So the movability of the material is really nice for when you're drawing. It's a little bit harder when you get the drawing done and you maybe don't want it to move anymore, because it'll keep on moving, you know, forever unless you do something to it. So one thing that you can do when you're done with the drawing is use spray fixative. They make special material that's just for spraying on pastel and charcoal drawings to keep them from moving around the page. They don't 100%, you know, keep the charcoal on the page, but it helps a lot to make the drawing more stable. If you don't have spray fixative, you can get spray fixative at a craft store. You can also use hairspray. The best hairspray, in my opinion, for this task is Aqua Net hairspray. You just want to lightly mist over the top of the drawing. If you don't have either one of these, I recommend cutting a little piece of paper that's the size of your charcoal drawing just to flap down and cover over it so you're not touching it with your hand as you don't intend to. So, you know, in my quadrant drawing, I could just, if this was going to be my charcoal drawing, which it is, I could just cut a little rectangle that was this size and make sure that it kind of covered over it. I could also make something that would cover the whole page and just sit over the top of it. This is a good thing to do until you get spray fixative or until you can get to a place where you can put a little hairspray on it to help it not move around. So I'm going to start my charcoal drawing. So one thing that you're going to see here is that I've already gotten my contour line drawing done in pencil. And some of these dark marks here might get in my way as I'm drawing. So before I start with any charcoal, I might take my eraser and just run it over the surface and just knock back some of these dark outlines. My goal is to not not to take it entirely off the page, I want to still be able to see it. I'm just lightening it up a little bit. So if you, especially if you've got some deep dark lines, you're going to want to erase them out a little bit, lighten them up a little bit, so that is easier for you to sketch. I know with my drawing that there's going to be a lot of dark on the outside, and I also know that charcoal is very smeary. So I might work within the strawberry first, because I know everything that's out here I'm just going to be smearing with my hand the whole time I'm drawing. So I'm looking at my berry, and I can see that the seeds are kind of going to be mostly highlights at the top, and there's some highlights here. I think this would be a good opportunity to kind of use erasing to find some of the highlights there. I think, you know, my leaves are a lighter gray out on the tips than my berry is in the center, so I'm going to need to make it a little lighter there, but they're darker here, I can see. I might save my background till last. So let's start shading. You're going to see while I'm drawing, I'm going to go back and forth between shading sometimes and using my finger to blend and erasing, and maybe even sometimes even coming back over what I've already drawn and shading a little bit more. So you're going to have to work pretty fluidly between these materials as you work with charcoal. All right, let's give it a try. so there you have it. Charcoal drawing. This drawing, as I said, is still very fragile. So if I were to, blow on it or rub across it with my hands, like everything would smear. So you want to be very careful of a drawing like this in this state. If you have workable fixative, you want to give it a light coat of workable fixative. Stay about 10 inches away from your drawing. If you're spraying something on your drawing like workable fixative, always make sure to test spray on another surface just to make sure the nozzle is clear. If you don't have that, some hairspray in an aerosol can. Aqua Net is the best according to my drawing teacher, Miss Anita DeAngelis from back in the day. So if you don't have access to the other, Aqua Net is usually readily available at Walgreens, CVS, any other sort of drugstore. Let's see. So yeah, you'd want to spray it. If you don't have access to spray or hairspray, you can take and cut a little piece of paper that just flops down over your drawing to keep you from accidentally smearing it. This is going to be good, especially when you're working in the next drawing over, so you're not constantly smearing this drawing. Yeah, so give it a try. This is certainly one of my favorite mediums to work in. It is very messy. Your hands are going to be dirty. Think about, the surface that you're working onto. You don't want to do this on your bed because you're going to make a lot of dust. You might want to put down like some paper underneath your work area so you can just carefully pick it up and throw it away when you're done. Charcoal drawing, very movable, very blendable, very messy. So, yes, give it a try. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.